Okay, yesterday we talked about what were we talking about yesterday? Yesterday I assigned the homework. Preposition can show positions in space, and I told you that you had 12 sentences on your homework, and your task was to underline the prepositional phrase and circle the preposition. So, for example, if you look at the first one, number one, the yoga instructor balanced her body backwards over the exercise ball. Over the exercise ball is the prepositional phrase. It begins with the preposition over and ends with the noun ball. And remember that you can that if a squirrel can do it to a tree, it's probably a preposition. A squirrel can hop over a small tree, means the over is a preposition. So then we're going to look at the next 11, and I'm going to let Class Dojo decide who answers the questions. So the first one, he put his wet umbrella into the metal stand beside the front door. Now this one has two prepositional phrases, two of them. So hopefully you found both of them. Let me see who's going to be the first volunteer. Serena, number two. See if you can identify two of the prepositional phrases, or at least one of them. Sorry, give me one of them. Into the metal stand. That is prepositional phrase. Good. Okay. And which word is the preposition? Into. And what is its object? What noun is it pointing to? Just stand. Just stand. In this case, the word metal is an adjective. It's describing the kind of stand, as opposed to a plastic stand or a wooden stand or whatever. Okay. Remember also, whenever you see the word the, and the, those are articles. Those words point to nouns, but it may not necessarily be the very next word. It may be a word or two later, depending on if there's adjectives in the sentence. Okay, number two also has one more prepositional phrase. Julian, do you know what it is? Number two still. Beside the front door. Yes, that is a prepositional phrase also. And Julian, which word is the preposition? Beside, good. And it points to which noun? Yes, the door or just door. Good. Okay, number three. The teacher wrote an assignment on the whiteboard. This sentence has one prepositional phrase. Edgar, even though you didn't have your homework, do you know what it is? On the whiteboard, yes. And which word is the prepositional phrase? On. Good. And it's pointing to which noun? Correct. Pointing to whiteboard. Okay. Number four, walking as quickly as he could, the old man stepped around the cracks in the sidewalk. This sentence has two prepositional phrases. Two of them. Mary Esther, what is one of them? Say that again. Okay, you added too many words in there, so try to eliminate some of them. Still too many words. Around the cracks. Around the cracks. A squirrel can walk or scamper around a tree. So what is the preposition in this sentence phrase? Around. Good. And it points to the noun cracks. Good. And there's one more prepositional phrase in this sentence. What is it, Janira? In the sidewalk. That is correct. Which word is the preposition? In. And what is its object? Good. Good. Number five. She was happy to sign her name near the top of the petition. This sentence has two prepositional phrases. What is one of them, Henry? You gave me too many words. You gave me 3 words too many. Near the top is one. Near the top, and what is the preposition in this phrase? Near. And what is its object? Right. You might think of top as being an adjective, but it has the top, which tells you that it is pointing to a noun. So top in this case has to be a noun. It's a place in this case. And there's one more prepositional phrase in this sentence. What is it, Lizeth? Of the petition. And what's the preposition? Of. And what's its object? Good. Did anybody in here think that to sign was a prepositional phrase? And it's likely that you did because you saw the word to and it was in your list if you have a list. And so I told you though that sometimes the words are used differently. In this case, to sign, the 2 words here, is what is known as an infinitive. And an infinitive is the basic form of any verb. So to run, to walk, to think, to sleep, to eat. All verbs, the most basic root form, begin with the word to. It's part of the infinitive form of the verb. So to sign is an infinitive. Sign is not a verb. Sorry, is not a noun, and so it cannot be a prepositional phrase. Okay, but that was an obvious thing you would necessarily have realized probably. Number 6, our family has a vacation home along the Colorado River. This sentence has one prepositional phrase. What is it, Dora? Along the Colorado River, exactly. And which word is the preposition? That's the noun. Along. Along is the preposition. And what is the object of the preposition? Good. Well, no. It's actually Colorado River. In this case, Colorado is not a proper adjective. It's actually part of the name of the river. So it's just along the Colorado River. Okay. Um, Going down to number 7. Jeremy forgot his backpack on the lawn by the public library. This sentence has 2 prepositional phrases. What is one of them, Francisco? On the lawn is one, correct. Which word is the preposition? On. And what is its object? Lawn. Good. Okay. And there's one more in this sentence. What is it, Jesus? By the public library. That is correct. It is by the public library. Which word is the preposition? By. And what is its object? It's actually just library. And the reason why it's not public library is public library in this case is just public is an adjective describing the kind of library. So I could say school library, college library, private library, and all of those would make sense. So public library is not a proper noun. We know it's not proper because it isn't capitalized, so public is just an adjective. But that's a common enough thing to think too. Good. Number 8. The girls organized their materials and started. It should say started, not starting. This was an error. Whoever created the worksheet. The girls organized their materials and started building the project on the kitchen table. This sentence has only one prepositional phrase. And Catherine, do you know what it is? On the kitchen table, yes. Which word is the preposition? On. And what is its object? Table. I'm glad you didn't say kitchen table because kitchen is actually, in this case, is an adjective because it's describing what kind of table? A kitchen table, as opposed to a dining room table or a round table or a work table, whatever. So that's why kitchen in this case is actually an adjective, not a noun. Um, Number 9. Summer classes will be held inside the auditorium of the high school on Brentwood Avenue. Number 9 has 3 prepositional phrases, 3 of them this time. Jonathan, can you give me one of them? On Brentwood Avenue, sure, that's one of them. And which word is the preposition, Jonathan? On. And what is its object? There's only 2 words left. Brentwood Avenue, yes. In this case, Brentwood and Avenue are both part of the proper noun, the name of the place. So you can't separate the two. Um, there is 2 more in this sentence. Name one of them, please, George. Correct. Wait, what did you say? Of the high school. Good. Which word is the preposition? Of. And what is its object? I'm glad you didn't say high school. It would have been the same thing. High, in this case, is describing what kind of school. Instead of saying elementary school or middle school, it's high school. Okay. So if I said Brentwood High School, that would be a proper noun, and you capitalize those. Okay, and there's one more in this sentence. What is it? Does anybody know? Andrea? Inside the auditorium. That is correct. And what is the preposition in this sentence? Inside. And its object? Correct. Good job. Okay, number 10. My uncle's boat started leaking and it sank into the middle of the lake. Um, this one has 2 prepositional phrases. Tania, can you name one of them, please? Number 10. Of the lake is one of them. What is the preposition? Of. And its object? Good. And there's one more here. Raul. Into the middle. Good. And preposition here is what? Into. And object? Correct. This one might be confusing when you see into the middle, because you're thinking into the middle of what? Well, of the lake, in this case, is actually acting as an adjective and describing um, middle. Okay, so into the middle. The middle is a noun because it begins with the word the. Article is the. So it is a noun even though you wouldn't think it's a noun by itself. Number 11. The sharpened pencils are located above the shelf with the lined paper. 2 prepositional phrases in this sentence. Angelo, what's one of them? Above the shelf. Good. And what is it? The preposition? And the object? Good. You guys are getting this. And there's one more in this sentence. And what is it? Let's see. Let's see. I'm sorry, what? I don't know isn't in this sentence, unfortunately, so you need to give me the best guess you can. With the line of paper. See, you knew the answer. And let's see, which word is the preposition? And what is its object? Good. I'm glad you didn't say lined as an adjective. Okay, good. And there's one more sentence, number 12. The heavier materials sifted through the lighter ones and rested on the bottom of the bucket. 3 prepositional phrases here. 3 of them. Taja, what's one of them? On the bottom is definitely a prepositional phrase. And what is its preposition? And object? Good. 2 more to go. Elias. Through the water. What? Oh, through the lighter. It's actually through the lighter ones. Through the lighter ones. You only went all the way through the adjective lighter. So what is the preposition? Sorry, what is the preposition here? Through. Good. And object of through is what? Right, ones. And there's one more prepositional phrase in this sentence. Do you see what it is, Antonio? We already have on the bottom of the bucket. And what is the preposition of the bucket? Of, and object is what? Bucket, correct. Okay, so by now, if you did this and you went through with me, you guys should really have a good handle on prepositional phrases and how they look and how they act in sentences and where to find them. So I am very pleased with you guys here. Let's go on. Now there's going to be some notes coming up, so you might want to have your composition books out. You're going to be looking at page 22, phrases and clauses, and the standard is 7L 7.3. So have your comp books out, please. Now, as always, I will tell you what I want you to write, because there are parts that you don't really need to have in your notes. You'd be writing forever if you did that, and I don't want you doing that. So today we're going to talk about phrases and clauses. Phrases and clauses. We've been talking for a while about different kinds of phrases, different kinds of clauses, and different kinds of words. But specifically today it's phrases and clauses. Okay, yes. So today's objective, by the end of this lesson, go ahead. By the end of this lesson, the students will be able to define phrases and clauses. Seems pretty obvious to me if you ask me. Okay, so I want you to ask yourselves a question. Please do not blurt it out, just think it to yourselves, and class soldier is going to choose a volunteer. But here is the question. What is a sentence? What is a sentence? Don't blurt it out, just think about it, please. And I will come to one of you in a moment, but what is a sentence? Edgar, do you know what a sentence is? The whiteboard says phrases and clauses. It's on X, it's a little abbreviation for at, for end. Anyways, I'm sorry, Edgar, what is a sentence? I don't know is never the answer. Please either try again or ask a buddy near you, who maybe will able to help you. Okay, Edgar, I'm going to come back to you, and when the answer finally does come out, I need you to answer the question, please. Okay, so what is a sentence? He's not. He just left the room. So what is a sentence, Adeline? Yes, I would add to that. I would say that not only does a sentence contain a subject and a predicate, I would also say a complete thought, because that's really important too. But in its most basic form, a sentence could definitely be a subject and a predicate. So, Edgar, what's a sentence? That wasn't the only thing that we said. Okay, Adeline, would you please repeat what you said for the benefit of Edgar? Thank you. Edgar? Yes. So we know that a sentence contains a subject, a predicate, and it has to have a complete thought. Okay. Now it's possible to not to just have a subject and a predicate and be a complete thought, but not always. And you're going to see some examples of that today. On the screen are three sentences. They're different. Each of them are different. So I'm going to read them, three of them. The first one, Stanley Yelnats was from a poor family. He had never been to a camp before. Stanley Yelnats was from a poor family, and he had never been to a camp before. Being from a poor family, Stanley had never been to a camp. By the way, does anybody know what's going on with Stanley Yelnats' name? Yeah, Yelnats is Stanley backwards. Does anybody recognize the reference? Who the character is? Famous book. Oh, Holes, yes. Stanley Yelnats was the main character of the book Holes. So, yes. Anyways, so look at the first sentence. The first one is actually two sentences. It's two independent clauses or two simple sentences. There's a period there. Two sentences. The second one is actually a compound sentence because it has two independent clauses joined by a comma and one of our fanboys, for and nor, but, or yet, or so, and then it joins the other clause. So it's a compound sentence. The third one contains a phrase and a clause. Okay. Now, the reason why it's not a complex sentence is because it does not begin with a subordinated conjunction. Being is actually a verb. So it begins with a verb, which makes that a phrase, not a clause. You can see the difference of that during the lesson here. So this part needs to be in your notes, just the top two sentences, the what is a clause and the top two sentences. A clause is a part of a larger sentence with a subject and a verb. It could be either a complete sentence or an incomplete sentence. Please have those two sentences written in your notes. That is important because you need to know what a clause is. Okay, so we have the sentence Stanley Jonas was from a poor family and he had never been to a camp before. Compound sentence has two independent clauses joined by a comma and a conjunction and. The first part of the compound sentence, independent clause, Stanley Jonas was from a poor family. Well, Stanley Jonas is a subject. Was is a verb or a predicate. By the way, verb and predicate are the same thing, assuming that it's being used as the action of the sentence. Second independent clause, he had never been to a camp before. Begins with the subject pronoun he. That should be a review for you. The subject pronoun he. So if you see the word he, you know it's going to be a subject. And the three words had never been. That's actually what's called a verb phrase. Now, a verb phrase is a group collection of, well, okay. A verb phrase is a series of verbs for you working together in a sentence. So when we say had never been, all three of those are required, and you'll see this later on when we talk about verb phrases, but they're actually required to make the sentence with the proper tense and everything. So had never been is the predicate or the verb of this part of the sentence. Okay, so two clauses. Clause, and I'm going to review with you here. You're going to vote. It's going to be thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up is yes. Thumbs down is no. There is no sideways thumbs, so don't try that. A sentence fragment with a verb and a noun is called a clause. Thumbs up if you think it's yes. Thumbs down if you think it's a no. I see some hands that haven't gone up yet, and I see a lot of no's. Interestingly enough, a sentence fragment with a verb and a noun is called a clause. That is actually correct. It is yes. Remember, independent clause has a verb and a noun. But it could be a fragment if it isn't the complete thought, but it's still a clause. It could be a dependent clause, but it's still a clause. Okay, so we're going to go on and get some more knowledge here. Okay, let's talk about dependent clauses then. On the screen you see, although he was innocent, that's what we would call a dependent clause. It begins with the word although, which is a subordinated conjunction. If I walked up to you and said, although he was innocent, and then I walked away, you'd be thinking, oh, what's wrong with him? He didn't even finish his thought. So, although he was innocent is a clause. It has a noun or a subject, he, and a predicate, was innocent, or a verb, but it's not a complete thought. So in order to be a complete thought, we have to add something to it, which is actually the independent clause to it. So Stanley Jonas was arrested, although he was innocent. Now it's a complete sentence because it now has a complete thought. Okay, so earlier when it was defined as a sentence being a verb and a noun, or a verb and a subject, that's only part of the truth because it needs to be a complete thought. So Stanley Jonas was arrested is a independent clause. Although he was innocent is a dependent clause. Have to have the two. Remember the differences? Remember we have the Beyonce clause and the Taylor Swift clause. Beyonce being the independent clause, she doesn't need anything. She's good to go. And Taylor, she's always in need of something, so she's a dependent clause. Okay. On the screen, there's a sentence, and there's going to be 12 words. Those 12 words you're going to need to have in your notes. Here's the sentence. Here's what you need to have in your notes, this top part. Generally, a dependent clause is marked by a dependent marker. And you need to have that sentence and the 12 words below it. These are all what we also could call subordinated conjunctions. They are what makes a clause dependent. We have the word after, although, even though, since, when, in order to, while, unless, if, whether, and not the weather you have outdoors, but this is a different weather, it's spelled differently, it's a homonym, because, and as if. Okay, actually not a homonym, a homophone. Sounds the same, different meaning, different spelling. That sentence and those 12 words need to be in your notes, please. So if you're watching from home, please pause the video and copy it down. Okay, so those are in your notes, hopefully. Let's check your understanding. Thumbs up is a yes, thumbs down is a no. Is a dependent clause a sentence? I am very pleased to see that almost all of you chose no, because a dependent clause is not a sentence. It is not a complete thought. If it begins with a subordinated conjunction, it isn't a complete thought. So that's good that you guys saw that and answered it correctly. Okay. This needs to be in your notes also. This sentence here. If a dependent clause functions as an adverb, adjective, or a noun, it is said to be one of three things. And I'm going to show you those three things which need to be in your notes. A noun clause, an adjective clause, or an adverbial or adverbal clause. Those are the things that they can be. Dependent clauses function as one of those three in a sentence, much like a prepositional phrase functions as an adverb or an adjective in a sentence too. Make sure this is in your notes. Okay, so you have seen some clauses. We haven't gotten to phrases yet. We will be getting to phrases later. Make sure you save some room on your notes. There is no homework tonight, so I will see you in class tomorrow.